We live as if time belongs to us. We toss away hours as though they'll circle back, waiting to be reclaimed. But time isn't currency. You can't earn more of it. Every second is quietly slipping through your hands, whether you notice or not. Most people don't, not until the moment it's too late. The Stoic refuses to wait for that realization. He moves through life as if every hour matters, because it does. This isn't about filling your calendar or staying busy. It's about being deliberate. A philosopher understands that the way you spend your time is the way you spend your life. You can't claim to cherish your existence while trading your hours away for noise, for gossip, for endless scrolling, for anything that dulls the person you are meant to become. That isn't living. That's drifting. Seneca once wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." To the Stoic, time isn't sacred because it's scarce. It's sacred because it's life itself. Every moment you live with intention, with clarity, with presence, you are holding true wealth in your hands. That is freedom. The more you honor your time, the more you honor your life. In this episode, we'll explore what it means to treat time as a philosopher does, with discipline, with purpose, and with the courage to stop giving away what can never be returned. It doesn't arrive with warning. It doesn't knock. It simply passes, quietly, invisibly, and without return. That thief is time, and unlike other losses, there is no refund, no restart, no second bargain. Once it slips away, it's gone. Yet how often do we treat this sacred currency like it's nothing more than spare change? We hand it over to people we don't respect, to habits we barely notice, to routines we never consciously chose. We live as though one day is promised. Someday, I'll begin. Next year, I'll focus. After things settle down, I'll finally start. But life doesn't pause for your plans. It doesn't hold itself still until you feel ready. It moves, and it moves without mercy. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." That line should land like thunder, because the truth isn't that time is too short. It's that we are too careless with what we have. Most people don't need more years. They need more clarity, more intention, more presence. When you examine how you spend your time, you're not just looking at your schedule, you're looking at your values. If you say family matters, yet you spend more hours staring at a screen than meeting your child's eyes, your actions speak louder than your words. If you say health is a priority, but every day brings another excuse to delay care for your body, the problem isn't time, it's alignment. Time is never neutral. It's always being shaped by your choices or by your neglect, by your vision or by your distraction. And every yes you give is also a no to something else. So the real question becomes, are you saying yes to what truly matters? Or are you giving away your life to the trivial while the essential waits in silence? This is why the Stoic guards his mornings. He doesn't move through life on autopilot. He rises with awareness, knowing every day is a page in the story of his life. That page is either written with intention or filled with noise. He doesn't rush to cram the hours. He studies them. He shapes them. Because he knows scattered hours create a scattered life, and nothing about that leads to peace. You've felt this before. The emptiness of days that disappear without meaning, the fatigue of meetings that add nothing to your purpose, the hollow afterglow of hours lost to distraction that promised escape but left you emptier. And then you tell yourself, tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow is not a guarantee. It's not a right. It's a privilege. Time is the only resource that vanishes with every breath. You can't store it. You can't borrow it. You can't bargain for more. That's what makes it sacred, and that's what makes wasting it a quiet tragedy. So ask yourself the question the Stoics often asked, not in fear, but in clarity. If I died tonight, would today reflect what I value most? Because the way you live your days is the way you live your life. There is no separate grand story waiting in the future. It's being written now, in the minutes you either guard or give away. Treat time as if it were gold, not in thought, but in action. Question your commitments. Notice what truly nourishes you, and start honoring every hour as if it were life itself, because it is. Start asking yourself simple but honest questions. Is this nourishing me or numbing me? Is this shaping the person I want to become, or slowly wasting what I'll never get back? And when the answer isn't clear, simplify. The Stoic doesn't simplify out of laziness, but out of reverence for what truly matters. He removes the non-essential to make room for the essential. He doesn't try to do everything. He tries to do what carries meaning. And in that discipline, he builds a life that isn't just full, but alive. Because once you truly grasp that time is your most precious resource, you stop giving it away to what's empty. You start living as if it's sacred, because it is. Which brings us to the hard truth. Don't trade it for nonsense. It sounds sharp, but some truths need to cut. Most of what demands your attention today isn't urgent. It isn't even important. It's noise, distraction disguised as duty. And if you aren't conscious of how your hours are spent, your life will quietly become a story written by other people. Your inbox, your feed, your calendar, your ego. Time is too sacred to be spent passively. Every minute you give away is a minute you will never reclaim. The philosopher knows this. That's why he guards his time the same way he guards his peace. Because in the end, they are the same thing. Think about it. How often do you check your phone? Not out of need, but out of habit. How many conversations do you enter just to avoid silence? How many plans do you agree to out of guilt or routine, knowing deep down they don't serve your values, your well-being, or your purpose? The enemy isn't a lack of time. It's a lack of discipline with time. It's the unconscious surrender to trivial obligations and shallow distractions. Stoicism calls for clarity, not in thought, but in behavior. The moment you recognize time as finite, you feel the urgency to honor it. And honoring it doesn't mean rigidity. It means alignment. It means being honest about what adds depth to your life and what quietly drains it. It means learning to say no, not because you're busy, but because you're finally clear on what is worth your one and only life. Seneca warned that life loses its meaning when we fill it with meaningless things. He wasn't being cynical. He was being exact. Life holds the potential for profound meaning, but only when you stop trading it for what doesn't matter. That doesn't mean every minute must be filled with work or some noble pursuit. It simply means every minute must be chosen. Chosen for rest, for focus, for reflection, for connection. Even leisure can be sacred when it's intentional. A quiet walk, a slow cup of tea, a conversation that reaches deeper than words. These are not wasted hours, but the evening lost to mindless scrolling, the day traded to distractions so you don't have to sit with yourself. Those are exchanges that leave a mark. And most people only see that mark when it's far too late. Too many people only see it when it's too late, when they look back and wonder where their life went. This is why the Stoic mindset matters so deeply. It isn't about shutting off emotions or forcing control. It's about clarity, about remembering that your minutes are your message, to the world and to yourself. What you spend your time on is what you are declaring to be important. If your calendar is full, but your soul feels empty, that isn't a scheduling problem. That's a values problem. To live like a philosopher is to become a wiser investor. You stop spending your life on shallow returns. You stop chasing trends and noise. You start seeking stillness, mastery, substance. Because what you trade your time for, you trade your life for. Ask yourself, what am I giving my time to this week? Who am I giving it to? And does any of it reflect the person I truly want to be? If the answer is no, change it. You don't owe anyone your life, but you do owe yourself a life you can stand behind, 1 minute at a time. And this leads to the next truth. Attention is how you actually spend life. We talk about time as if it's separate from attention. It isn't. They are the same coin. Time may hold your life, but attention is what fills it. You don't live 24 hours a day. You live the moments you are truly present for. And when your attention is scattered, numbed, or hijacked, you may have time, but you aren't inhabiting it. You're just existing while life slips past unnoticed. The Stoics understood this. They didn't just measure time, they inhabited it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life." Why? Because that thought pulls you fully into the moment. It removes the noise. It leaves only presence. And in our age, this is harder than ever. Attention has become currency. That's not a metaphor. It's the foundation of billion-dollar industries. Every notification, every algorithm, every infinite scroll isn't just informing you, it's training you. And the more your attention fractures, the easier you are to lead away from yourself. Fragmented focus creates foggy thoughts, reactive emotions, and a life that disappears without depth. The Stoic answer isn't to abandon technology or reject the modern world. It's to reclaim agency over your mind. Attention is a discipline. It's not given by accident. It's directed on purpose. Every moment you choose to focus fully, you are honoring your time. You are reminding yourself, my life is mine. So ask honestly, where does my attention go when I'm not steering it? What habits drain my clarity? Which conversations, which content, which people leave me scattered instead of steady? These aren't harmless distractions. They are slow leaks of your energy. And enough leaks over enough days become a wasted life. But here's the power. Attention can be trained, slowly, gently. One task fully done. One conversation with your phone in another room. One morning without the pull of the feed. Through intention, not pressure, you rebuild focus. You make your attention a meditation, not of silence, but of presence. And in that presence, you stop drifting. You start living. Not the kind of meditation that demands silence, the kind that demands presence. Even the most ordinary moments can become profound when approached with care. Washing a dish, walking a familiar street, preparing a simple meal. When you give them your full attention, they stop being tasks and become life itself. The more you practice this, the more you see. Life doesn't have to be loud to matter. It has to be felt, fully, clearly, deeply. Because attention isn't just about what you look at. It's about what you truly see. It's not just what you hear. It's what you actually notice. And in a world built to scatter you, the one who can hold their attention holds their reality. Guard it, refine it, aim it at what carries weight. Because while time may slip through your fingers, your attention decides whether you touch any of it before it's gone. Which brings us here. Be ruthless with your minutes. There's a soft but dangerous myth most people live by. That time can be wasted and recovered, that a few lost hours or days won't matter. But the truth is sharper. You don't have time. You're borrowing it. Every breath is a withdrawal from an account you don't control. And one day, sooner than you think, the balance will reach zero. That's why the Stoic guards his minutes like a flame in the wind. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. He knows once they're gone, regret cannot buy them back. He doesn't drown in shallow obligations. He doesn't hand his hours to every demand or every voice that calls his name. His calendar reflects his values, not his guilt. Being ruthless with time isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming honest. Ask yourself, if someone asked to borrow 1 hour of your life every day for the next 10 years, would you give it away? Most of us would hesitate. Yet that's exactly what happens when you spend your hours on what empties you instead of what fills you. You have to learn to say no, not with anger, but with quiet conviction. You have to end the conversations that don't nourish you. Step away from commitments that drain you. Ask every single day, is this worth my life? Because that's what you're trading, not minutes, but moments of your only existence. And if you say yes too freely, you'll one day look back and see you were generous with everything except yourself. Seneca once wrote, "We should not say that a man has lived long because he has white hair and wrinkles. He has not lived long. He has existed long." There's a difference. Existence asks nothing. Living asks for choice, for courage, for discipline, because the world will always pull at you. More noise, more demands, more distractions. If you don't draw a line, you'll wake up a stranger in your own life. The Stoic doesn't wait for collapse to course correct. He protects his inner space before it's invaded. He knows wasted time is wasted energy, and there are no refunds for either. So he sets boundaries, not just with others, but with himself. He refuses to let laziness wear the mask of rest. He refuses to let scrolling pretend to be connection. He notices when he's drifting and calls himself back with discipline. Here's the test. Look back at your last week, not your plans, but your reality. Where did your time go? Who did you give it to? What consumed it? Does that pattern reflect a life of intention or one of quiet surrender? To live as a philosopher is to make peace with letting others down if it means staying true to yourself. It's choosing solitude over shallow company, choosing fewer things, but giving them depth instead of scattering yourself on what doesn't matter. It's remembering that being ruthless with your minutes is not coldness, it's self-respect. Because when you finally protect your time as if your life depends on it, you see the truth. It always did. 5. Time wasted is life lost. There's a kind of loss that doesn't shout. You feel it, not in chaos, but in the silence that follows. It isn't about what was taken from you. It's about what you handed away without even noticing. That's the ache of wasted time. It doesn't leave marks on the body, but it erodes something far deeper. The story you could have lived, the person you might have become, the peace you never built. The Stoics didn't measure life in years, but in use. You can live a short life, deeply present, rich with meaning. Or you can drift for decades, distracted and disconnected. The tragedy isn't death. The tragedy is meeting death with regret for how you lived. Seneca warned that most people die without ever living because they trade their days for what doesn't matter. And what is non-essential? Anything that numbs your awareness. Anything that keeps you so busy with the surface that you forget the depth of your own existence. The danger is that wasted time rarely feels wasted in the moment. It hides behind words like rest, entertainment, or just a break. But true rest restores you. True entertainment lifts you or reconnects you. Wasted time leaves you empty. You scroll for hours and feel more anxious than when you started. You tell yourself you're relaxing, yet your mind is still cluttered. You think you're escaping, but really you're just avoiding yourself. And the more you avoid, the more time escapes quietly through the cracks. Here's the hard truth. Every second you waste, someone else is using. To grow, to heal, to learn, to lead. While you procrastinate, someone else is practicing. While you complain, someone else is committing. And while you're distracted, life continues, with or without your presence. That isn't a call to panic. It's a call to wake up, because you are not powerless. You still have now. And if you claim now, you can change what comes next. Wasted time isn't always laziness. Often it's fear. Fear of starting. Fear of failing. Fear of facing how far you've drifted. So instead of acting, we fill the space with busyness, with overthinking, with dreams we build in our heads instead of in the world. The Stoic pulls us back, not because it's easy, but because it's real. Because the only place where change exists is here. The only place where peace is possible is here. The only place life is ever truly lived is here. So what do? You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You begin now. You stop waiting for motivation. You reclaim the next hour. 1 hour, fully lived, fully chosen, fully yours. You silence the noise. You focus on one thing that matters. And then you repeat, hour by hour, day by day. That's how you rebuild your time. That's how you rebuild your life. Don't make peace with wasted time. Study it. Learn from it. Forgive yourself, but don't ignore it. Let it sharpen your awareness, not dull your resolve. Because once you truly feel the weight of lost time, you begin to treat what remains like gold. There's no such thing as just a few wasted minutes. There is only life used or life lost. And the Stoic chooses to use it. 6. Reflect daily on how you spend it. You can't change what you refuse to see. And you can't master your time if you never pause to ask where it's actually going. The philosopher doesn't wait for the end of the year to examine his choices. He reflects daily, not from guilt, but from discipline, from respect. Because each day doesn't disappear. It becomes part of your life's direction. And even small directions, repeated, create momentum. Reflection is how you sharpen awareness, how you interrupt autopilot. Most lives aren't wasted in a single catastrophic decision. They're wasted in small, forgettable habits. Hours lost in empty distraction. Attention handed to noise. Days filled with busyness, but empty of intention. Daily reflection catches these patterns. It exposes the blind spots. It confronts you with honesty. Not to shame you, but to guide you. Think of it as a compass. The Stoic uses reflection to recalibrate. Was I present today? Did I give my time to what truly matters? Where did I drift, and why? These aren't accusations. They are invitations to live more deeply. In a world that pushes you to react, to consume, to chase, reflection becomes a quiet act of rebellion. Seneca wrote, "Each day acquires from the next an addition of loss." He knew that unexamined days are silently erased, and with them, the version of you that could have been forged inside them. Reflection isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It makes time visible. It shows you not just what you did, but who you were. Were you grounded or distracted? Were you kind to yourself? Were you brave enough to do what mattered? You don't need pages of journaling or elaborate rituals. You need 5 minutes. 5 minutes of silence before the noise of sleep. Sit with the day and ask, was today mine? And if the answer is no, don't spiral. Don't punish yourself. Simply decide that tomorrow will be different. Because reflection without action is just thought. Reflection with intention is power. The more you reflect, the sooner you notice. The quicker you course correct. You waste less. You live more deliberately. You begin to see that time isn't just something to manage. It's something to honor. And honoring time means refusing to let a single day pass without learning from it. Take 5 minutes tonight. No excuses. Sit with your day. Ask, answer, adjust. Do it again tomorrow and the day after, until reflection becomes part of who you are. Because the person who reflects daily becomes the person who lives deliberately. 7. What you schedule reveals what you value. We often claim to know our priorities: health, family, purpose, peace of mind. But open your calendar and you'll see the truth. Your schedule isn't just a list of tasks, it's a mirror. It shows what you really value, not in words, but in action. You can say you value discipline, but if your day is ruled by impulse, you don't. You can say you want clarity, but if you build your hours around noise, you've chosen distraction. The Stoic doesn't ask, "What do you believe?" He asks, "How do you spend your minutes?" Seneca warned. We are tight-fisted with property and money, yet think too little of wasting time, the one thing about which we should all be the most miserly. And he was right. You wouldn't hand your house keys to a stranger. And yet, we hand over hours of our lives without hesitation, to meaningless meetings, to shallow entertainment, to endless scrolling, all without stopping to notice what's slipping away. Why? Because most people never learn to see time as the philosopher does, not as an endless supply, but as a sacred, limited currency. And what you spend it on reveals everything, what you're truly building or what you're quietly avoiding. Pause and ask yourself, if someone who had never met you looked only at how you structured your day, no words, no explanations, what would they assume you value? Would they see time carved out for your body and health, or hours lost to sitting and reacting? Would they find space for silence, reflection, or real connection, or only a blur of rushed commitments and digital noise? Would they notice rhythm and intention, or just chaos disguised as productivity? Here's the reality. You can't say you want change while still scheduling for sameness. If your goals aren't on your calendar, they aren't goals, they're wishes. The Stoic doesn't leave his values to chance. He places them in time. He gives them form through routine, structure, and daily practice. Because he knows you don't become what you hope for or dream about. You become what you consistently do. And you only do what you make time for. That's why mastering your schedule isn't about cramming in more. It's about aligning your time with your essence. Every block of time becomes a quiet declaration of who you are choosing to be. And that choice isn't made on vision boards. It's made in real minutes, on real days. Life will always bring interruptions. Emergencies will happen. Priorities will shift. But those are the exceptions. The real danger isn't disruption, it's drift. When you don't claim your time with clarity, others will claim it for you. Their urgency becomes your direction. Their noise becomes your soundtrack. Their needs become your life. And one day, you wake up drained. Not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what matters most. The Stoic answer is quiet but powerful. Structure your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Begin each week with reflection. Ask, what deserves my time? Not what demands it. There's a difference. One feeds your soul, the other just feeds your calendar. Then carve space, even if small, for what truly matters. 30 minutes of solitude in the morning. An hour in the evening for deep focus. A Sunday reserved for silence and reset. Whatever nourishes you must be seen in your schedule, or it won't exist at all. And once it's there, protect it. Treat it as sacred. Don't apologize for guarding your time. Don't explain your boundaries. A clear no is a complete sentence. A wise schedule is a filter. Not everything gets in. Not everyone gets access. Not every request deserves a yes. Because every yes you give is a no to something else. And if you keep saying yes to noise, you will end up saying no to your own future. So here's the challenge. Stop letting guilt and reaction shape your days. Start shaping them with intention. Start shaping your schedule with clarity and intention. Think of your time as a garden. If you don't plant what's meaningful, weeds will grow on their own. And just like a garden, it's not only about planting, it's about pruning. You have to remove what no longer serves you, even if it once did, especially if it now doesn't. Look at your schedule again, not as a list of tasks, but as a map of who you're becoming. If it feels chaotic or shallow, that's not failure. That's feedback. Use it. Adjust. Start small. The Stoic doesn't just control his reactions. He controls what he allows in. He curates his time. He honors it. Because how you spend your days is how you spend your life. And your life deserves more than leftovers. 8. Spend time as if it were gold. Imagine every hour of your day stamped with a price tag. Not in dollars, but in life. Because that's the true cost. Every minute you spend is a minute you'll never see again. Most people live as if time is infinite. As if there's always tomorrow, always next year, always someday. But the Stoic knows better. He understands time is not just a measure. It's the rarest resource you will ever hold. And once it's gone, it's gone. To spend time as if it were gold is to lift it to its proper place. It means refusing to waste it on conversations that go nowhere, on people who drain you, on routines that leave you numb instead of alive. You wouldn't throw gold into the trash. So don't give your hours to anything or anyone that doesn't reflect your values, your growth, your peace. Every hour is a choice, a deposit into your future, or a quiet withdrawal from your potential. There's a dignity in seeing it that way. This isn't about being rigid or cold. It's about being intentional. Because how you use your time shows how much you value your life. If you say your dream matters, but never make time for it, that's not a dream. That's a decoration. If you say you want peace, but your calendar is full of chaos, your actions are arguing with your words. You don't need to announce what you value. Your time already tells the story. The Stoics warned that time should be guarded more fiercely than wealth. And yet, people will argue endlessly over money while giving away 4 hours a day to gossip, television, or scrolling without a second thought. This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. Because if you don't treat time with reverence, life becomes accidental. You drift. You react. You stay busy while feeling empty. To spend time like gold is to become selective. Not everything deserves your presence. Not every invitation deserves a yes. And every hour you ask yourself quietly, but honestly, is this worthy of my life? Not, can I fit it in? But is it worth it? Is this choice building something within me? Is it aligning with the person I'm becoming? Or is it just filling a void, distracting me from discomfort, giving the illusion of living while I'm really avoiding? This kind of awareness isn't easy at first. When you start valuing your time, some things and some people will fall away. You'll decline events. You'll cancel plans that once shaped your identity. You'll sit in silence where you once chased noise and stimulation. But in that quiet space, something real begins to grow. Your true life, not performed for others, not shaped by obligation or approval, but reflecting your mind, your heart, your values. That life is built hour by hour, in the sacred space of your attention. The philosopher doesn't wait for retirement to start living. He doesn't wait for permission to say no. He doesn't wait for burnout to realize something must change. He treats his time as precious because he knows every hour he guards is an hour he truly owns. And every hour owned becomes a seed for wisdom, purpose, and fulfillment. So what does this look like practically? It looks like setting boundaries without apology. Carving out daily time for what matters, even if it's small. Choosing silence over noise, depth over distraction, substance over spectacle. Reviewing your day and asking, did I invest this hour or just spend it? Because one day, when time runs out, and it will, You won't remember every task completed or approval gained. You'll remember how you lived. You'll remember the moments you were fully present, the time you guarded, the attention you gave with intention, and the life you shaped by treating your hours like gold, because they truly were. 9. Protect your hours like your peace. Peace isn't found. It's protected. It's not a gift the world hands out when it feels kind. Peace isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build hour by hour, with discipline, clarity, and fierce intentionality. That's why your time and your peace aren't separate. They are deeply intertwined. Every hour given to the wrong thing is an hour taken away from your center. Every minute surrendered to chaos is a minute stolen from calm. So the Stoic learns to protect his hours, not just because they're valuable, but because they're sacred. Within them lives his peace. In today's world, time theft is subtle. It doesn't always arrive as a crisis or distraction. Sometimes it comes disguised as an unquestioned obligation. A call you didn't want to take. A scroll you promised would be quick. A meeting that could have been an email. Slowly, quietly, your day is eaten away by things you never really chose. And then you wonder why you feel off, like you lived a day that wasn't truly yours. That's the cost of unguarded time. And the price is always your peace. To protect your hours means becoming fiercely selective about what enters your day. It means drawing boundaries that don't need explanation. It means recognizing that access to your time is access to your mind. And not everyone, not everything deserves that access. There's a common misconception that saying yes is kind and saying no is cold. But the truth is the opposite. A yes given out of guilt often leads to resentment. A no given from clarity leads to respect, both from others and from yourself. The philosopher Epictetus said it plainly. If someone gave away your body to a stranger, you'd be furious. Yet you hand over your mind to anyone who comes along. What he meant is this: your time is never neutral. Every hour is a mental investment. It leaves a residue. A draining conversation doesn't end when the words stop. It echoes in your energy. A task that pulls you away from purpose creates dissonance long after it's done. So protecting your time isn't selfish. It's necessary for your clarity, your creativity, your ability to live deliberately. Practically speaking, this looks like creating space and fiercely defending it. It means blocking out hours in your day where you are unreachable, where the world cannot invade. It means removing digital leashes, turning off notifications, placing your phone in another room, scheduling silence with the same care others schedule noise. It means shaping your environment so your attention isn't under constant siege, because you can't protect your peace if your mind is always open for business. It also means learning to disappoint the right people. You will not guard your hours without some friction. Some won't understand. Some will take it personally. That's okay. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the presence of alignment. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be true. And truth requires solitude. It requires space to think, to breathe, to create, to simply be still. That space isn't a luxury. It's your foundation. So begin to treat your hours like territory. Guard them like a warrior guards a border, not with aggression, but with unwavering clarity. When someone asks for your time, ask yourself, is this aligned with who I am becoming? Is this worth the cost to my energy, my focus, my peace? If it's not, you owe no explanation. A life of depth can't be lived at the mercy of every demand. Here's a deeper truth. The life you want isn't found in the big moments. It's built in the quiet ones. It's carved out of the hours you protect, not the ones you surrender. Your peace is made of time. And when you defend your hours, you're not just managing a schedule. you're defending your soul. 10. Death is the final deadline. Every day we push things off. We tell ourselves there's time, that we'll start the project when life is less chaotic, that we'll apologize when the moment feels right, that we'll pursue the dream, fix the habit, speak the truth someday. But the philosopher doesn't believe in someday. The Stoic carries a steady awareness that death is never far away, not to frighten himself, but to sharpen his focus, to remind himself of what is real. Because once you fully accept that time is finite, you begin to truly live. There is no calendar more honest than mortality. You can negotiate a deadline at work. You can reschedule a meeting. But you cannot postpone the end. You don't get extra years. You don't get to revise your life and submit it again. When your time is up, it's up. And what you did with your hours will either echo in peace or linger in regret. Seneca observed that people are careful with money, but careless with time. He said, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." We fear pain, failure, embarrassment, yet we live as if we have forever to course correct. We live like death is a myth, but it is not. It is the most reliable truth we have. The Stoic doesn't run from it. He trains with it. He lets it refine what truly matters. Each morning you wake to another day. But it's not just a gift. It's a countdown. One fewer sunrise. One fewer chance to show up. One step closer to the final hour. This is not morbid. It is clarity. It makes your choices feel weightier, because they are. It asks, if this were my last week, would I be doing what I am doing? If this were my final year, would I keep delaying my dreams? The truth is, tomorrow is never guaranteed. So why keep living as if it is? Living with death in mind doesn't mean panic or rush. It means presence. It means honoring the time you have, fully and deeply. It means choosing what truly matters. It means having the courage to say, "This is more important." It means releasing petty conflicts, empty pursuits, and meaningless busyness. It means speaking the words you've held back, offering the forgiveness you've resisted, writing the page you keep postponing, and building the life you want, without waiting for it to arrive. The Stoic asks, if today were your last full page, what would you fill it with? Distraction, complaints, or meaning? Would you scroll through the hours, or would you slow down and truly live them? Death is the final deadline. You can't avoid it, but you can choose to use it. You can use it to clarify, to deepen, to awaken. You can ask yourself, if my time is short, how should I spend it? Not in fear, but in passion. Not in comfort, but in creation. Not sleepwalking, but with purpose. And when you live this way, everything shifts. Your mornings become sacred. Your routines gain meaning. Your presence feels full, not because you're anxious, but because you are awake. You stop caring about opinions that don't matter. You stop wasting time proving yourself. You move with urgency, but also with peace, because you're no longer waiting to live. You are living. Remember, the clock is always ticking, but it is not your enemy. It is your invitation, an invitation to live wisely, to love deeply, to act now. Because one day, there will be no more sunrises. But today, you have this one. Don't waste it. You cannot control how much time you get, but you can control how well you use it. And that is where the Stoic finds freedom. Not in waiting for perfect conditions, not in complaining about a lack of time, but in mastering the time he does have. Every minute you protect, every distraction you resist, every intention you honor. They shape a life that doesn't just pass, but builds into something meaningful, something real, something deeply your own. The world will always pull you away from yourself, into urgency, noise, comparison. It will tempt you to live in reaction, sacrificing your hours for shallow rewards and fleeting applause. But you don't have to live that way. You can reclaim your mornings. You can design your days. You can spend your time like a philosopher, not rushing, not hesitating, but choosing with quiet clarity. And if there is one truth to carry with you as this episode ends, let it be this: your time is your life. It's not separate, it's one and the same. So if you want change, start by changing how you spend your hours. You don't need to do more. You need to do what truly matters, consistently, intentionally, with quiet resolve. The Stoic doesn't wait for meaning to appear at the end. He creates it in the moments between now and then. And you can do the same. If this episode helped you see your time differently, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it too. And if you want to keep growing with real clarity and real action, subscribe to Stoic Mindset Mastery. One day at a time, 1 hour at a time, starting now.